Hey traders, Gavin McMaster here from Options Trading IQ, and today we're doing a beginner's guide to option Greeks. Before we do, just a quick reminder that everything discussed is for educational purposes only, is general in nature and does not take into account your personal circumstances. So are you new to options trading and feel a bit lost when people start talking about delta, gamma, theta, and vega? You're not alone. Option Greeks might sound intimidating at first, but once you understand them, they become powerful tools that can help you make smarter trading decisions. Today we're going to break down the option Greeks in a way that's easy to understand, even if you're just starting out. The main Greeks, delta, gamma, theta, and vega, are essential for anyone who wants to trade options. The other Greek is rho, but we're not really going to focus on that today because it's not as important. Understanding the Greeks is essential for risk management. Let's start with the basics. What are option Greeks? In simple terms, option Greeks measure how sensitive your positions are to different market factors like changes in the stock price, time, and volatility. Each Greek provides insight into a specific type of risk that can impact an option's price. These Greeks are like a trader's dashboard, giving you valuable information on how your option position might react to different scenarios. Delta measures sensitivity to changes in the stock price. Vega measures sensitivity to changes in implied volatility. Theta measures time decay. And gamma measures how quickly delta changes as the stock moves. So delta tells you how much the price of an option is expected to move for every $1 change in the price of the underlying stock. For example, if an option has a delta of 0.5, that means that if the stock increases by $1, the option price would increase by 50 cents. Delta values range from -1 to +1. Call options have positive delta and put options have negative delta. However, the delta exposure of each trade will depend on whether we bought or sold the option. So here in the table we can see if we buy a call option, we have positive delta. If we buy a put option, we have negative delta. But if we sell a call option, we actually have negative delta. Even though the call itself has positive delta, because we've sold that call, we have negative delta. And if we sell a put, the put has negative delta, but because we've sold it, we have positive delta. For call options, delta ranges between 0 and 1, indicating that the price of the option will generally move in the same direction as the stock price. Put options have a delta between 0 and -1, meaning they will move inversely to the stock price. So if the stock goes up, the value of the put option will go down. A put option with a delta of -0.3 will decrease by 30 cents if the stock price rises by $1. Put sellers will profit from a rising stock price. That's very important to remember. Here we can see how much an option's price will change based on a $1 increase in the stock price. So if we've got a call option with a delta of 0.80, we usually just say an 80 delta for short, the option price will change by 80 cents. A 60 delta call option, if the stock goes up by $1, the call option will go up by 60 cents, and a 20 delta call option will go up by 20 cents if the stock rises by $1. Puts are the opposite. If the stock rises by $1, our -80 delta put is going to go down by 80 cents, our 60 delta put will go down by 60 cents, and our 20 delta put will go down by 20 cents. Delta helps us anticipate how sensitive our option position will be to changes in the stock price. It's also an essential component for constructing more complex strategies and managing risk, but more on that later. Delta can also indicate the probability that an option will end up in the money at expiration. For example, a 20 delta put option has a roughly 20% chance of ending in the money. Or stated another way, it has an 80% chance of expiring worthless. Option position delta is another important concept for beginners to understand. Let's look at some specific examples. So here we've got our same options that we were looking at before. If we buy that 80 delta call option, we've got positive delta. Same with the 60 delta call option. If we buy that, we've got positive delta. But on the third example, the call option itself has positive delta, but we've sold it, so our position delta is actually negative. We're going to do well if the stock drops in this case. The put examples, if we buy that 80 delta put, we've got negative position delta. But if we sell the 60 delta put, we've got positive delta, and we're going to do better if the stock rises. If we buy the 20 delta put, we've got negative delta, negative position delta, and we'll do well if the stock drops. Let's go one step further and add in the number of contracts. So first line item doesn't really change. We've only got one contract, so our position delta is the same at 80. The second example, we've got 2 contracts of that 60 delta call option that we've bought. So our position delta is $1.20. If we sell 1 call, our position delta is still negative 20. If we buy 1 put, still negative 80. Here we're selling 3 puts though, with our 60 delta. So our position delta is positive 180 because negative 3 times negative 60 is 180. And finally, if we buy 3 puts at the 20 delta, we'll have negative 60 as our position delta. Position delta is an important concept when we start to look at delta hedging, which we'll talk about shortly. Conservative traders might look to sell options with a lower delta and a higher probability of expiring worthless. However, everything with options is a trade-off. Selling a low delta put has a high probability but low premium. Higher delta puts will have higher premiums but a lower probability of expiring worthless. It's all about finding a balance and a process that works for each trader. Let's look at some examples. So going over to my broker platform, Interactive Brokers, we're looking at their Risk Navigator platform within Trader Workstation. Let's use Apple as an example. We'll go to the first monthly expiration and we'll look at, say, a 35 delta put. Notice how the delta here is negative 0.35. We just say 35 delta for short. So we'll look at the 35 delta put and we'll look at a deep out of the money put as well. This roughly 7 delta put. So if we're to sell the higher delta put, take a look at our risk graph. So what we're looking at here is the profit and loss at expiration in blue, and the purple line is our T+0 line, which basically means trade date plus 0 days, or how does the trade look as of today. So we can see with this example, we've got a maximum profit of $400 or about $405 if that's what we sell that option for. This is the delta of that particular strike, and this is our position delta because -1 times the 0.35 times 100 is 36. Instead, if we sell that 6 delta put, we're getting much less premium. So we can see our profit potential is very low. It's only about $55, $60. But we have a much higher probability of it expiring worthless because the strike is much further out of the money. Again, there's our strike delta, there's our position delta. If we were to trade 3 of these contracts, you'll see that this delta doesn't change because the delta of the strike doesn't change, but our position delta will change. So this number stays the same, but our position delta is now 20. And this is important when we start to look at delta hedging. Delta is not a fixed value. It changes based on several key factors. These include the moneyness of the option, for example, whether it's in the money, at the money, or out of the money, time to expiration, and implied volatility. Your broker platform will show the option delta as part of the option chain. You can see that here with Apple. We've got all our deltas here, positive for the call options, negative for the put options. And as we go further out of the money, the delta drops away. Same on the downside. As we go further out of the money, the delta gets lower and lower. Delta hedging is an advanced topic that may not be relevant for beginners, but it's good to have a basic understanding. Delta hedging is a method used by traders to offset the risk of adverse price movements in the underlying stock. Delta hedging is particularly valuable for option sellers who want to protect themselves from sudden and unfavorable moves in the stock price. Let's work through a quick example. Now, using our Apple put option that we were just looking at, we've got positive 20 delta. If we wanted to delta hedge that, we could use the stock and we could sell short 20 shares. This delta hasn't changed, this delta hasn't changed, but negative 20 shares or shorting 20 shares has a delta of negative 20. Our overall position delta is now 0. We've hedged our directional risk and we can see that our T+0 line is nice and flat. Now, we don't necessarily want to do that. It's just an example. But if we were also had 3 contracts of this, 35 delta times 3 contracts, delta of about 107. If we want to hedge our delta risk, we would sell 107 shares. And now we've got a risk graph that looks like this. Now, you don't always want to delta hedge, and you don't always want to do a full delta hedge either. Maybe you want to only do a partial delta hedge just to reduce some of the directional risk. Shorting shares isn't available to everyone, and it's not available on every stock. So sometimes that can be a little bit confusing. It's a little bit easier to delta hedge when you have a negative delta position, such as a bear call spread. And in that case, we would purchase shares to hedge our negative delta. So let's look at a quick example of that. Just set up a quick bear call spread. We'll go with the 18 delta, 5 points wide. And let's say we had a couple of contracts here. And there's our risk graph. Let's get rid of these two. So here we can see we've got negative position delta here. -2 times 18 is 36. +2 times 10 or 11 is 21. Overall, the combined position has a delta of -15. If we want to hedge that delta position, we would buy 15 shares of Apple. And we've removed our delta risk. Our T+0 line's nice and flat. We haven't impacted any of our other Greeks, and we're still getting our nice theta that we want. Now, like I said, you don't want to delta hedge every position, and you don't want to fully delta hedge all the time, but sometimes it can be a handy little tool to add into your arsenal. And again, you might want to only do a 50% delta hedge. A good time to do this is, for example, if the stock is getting near your short strike, but you don't want to adjust the underlying position, you just want to hedge the price risk for a day or two. That can be a really good time to do it, particularly as we're getting close to expiration and we don't want to give up any of our theta. I do have another video going into delta hedging in a bit more detail if you want to check that out. So gamma is the next Greek, and it tells us how much our delta will change with a $1 move in the stock price. Essentially, gamma is the rate of change of delta. Gamma is highest for at-the-money options and also options with low days to expiration. When gamma is high, delta can change rapidly, which means the option's sensitivity to the stock price can fluctuate a lot. So small price movements in the stock price can make a big change in our delta and can make a big change in our P&L. So you have to watch positions that have high gamma. They basically have high risk of price movements. Let's look at an example. Suppose you own a call option with a delta of 5 and a gamma of 0.1. If the stock moves up by $1, gamma will add 0.1 to delta, making the new delta 0.6. So now if the stock moves another $1, the options price will increase by 60 cents instead of 50 cents. This compounding effect of gamma on delta is what makes at-the-money options so responsive to price changes. Likewise, short-term options, weekly options will have very high gamma, and their delta is going to change rapidly. Here we can see a graph that illustrates the point. The blue line is a 6-month option, has quite low gamma. The 3-month options have a bit higher gamma, and the 1-month options have really high gamma. And if we added a weekly option into this, the gamma chart would be even more steep as well. Gamma will also vary depending on the volatility of the underlying. In a low volatility environment, we're going to have really high gamma at the at-the-money options, whereas in a high IV environment, the gamma is going to be a little bit more spread out across the different strikes. Let's take a look at an example with some Apple options. So here I've got some Apple call options for the November 15 expiration, going from deep in the money to deep out of the money. Very high delta all the way down to a low delta. And you can see the gamma exposure is highest for the at-the-money options. Apple's trading at 230, so the gamma is highest in those 230, 235 calls, and very low for the out-of-the-money options and the deep in the money options. Theta measures time decay, or how much an option's price is expected to decrease each day as it gets closer to expiration. Option sellers benefit from time decay. And some of you may have seen this chart or a similar chart where the last week or so of an option's life is when the time decay is the most severe. So we have very slow decay 6 months out, and it starts to speed up as we get close to expiration. And those weekly options have very, very fast time decay, which is great for option sellers, but it comes at a cost of high gamma or high price risk, as we've just learned. So selling short-term options provides the most time decay. However, it comes with a higher gamma or price risk. Everything in options is a trade-off. So some people will love those short-term options because they get that great time decay, but they've got a lot of price risk. And if the underlying makes a big move, the trade can come under pressure very quickly. Whereas if we go with a longer term trade, the theta is a bit slower, but our gamma is also a lot lower and our changes in P&L will be a lot slower as well. A theta value of 0.1 means the option will decay by roughly $10 per day. Going back to our Apple examples, we can see here these are bought call options, long call options, so they've all got negative theta. And if we look at these examples, the at-the-money options have the highest theta, and they're losing about $21 per day in theta. And as we go further out of the money, the theta drops away and is a lot lower. If we were to sell these call options instead, we would have positive theta, and we would be making money each day through time decay. Vega tells us how much an option's price is expected to change with a 1% change in implied volatility. Option buyers have positive Vega and benefit from a rise in implied volatility after making the trade, and option sellers have negative Vega and benefit from a decrease in implied volatility. Suppose a call option has a Vega of 0.1, which means the option price will increase by 10 cents for every 1% rise in implied volatility. If implied volatility jumps by 5%, the option could increase by 50 cents from Vega alone. Here we've got an example using some put options, which have positive Vega, and we can see that the at-the-money options have the highest Vega, and the out-of-the-money options have much lower Vega exposure. To keep track of the Greeks for your options positions, you'll need a reliable trading platform that shows them in real time. We've been looking at Risk Navigator from Interactive Brokers, which I highly recommend. I've also got some videos on Interactive Brokers and their Trader Workstation platform and their Risk Navigator if you want to take a look at those and get some more information on how that all works. So today you've learned a little bit about the four main option Greeks. Understanding and monitoring the Greeks is a crucial step in your options trading journey. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching and have a great day.